Today I'm going to show you how to make greens. Hey y'all, fall is in the air. It feels a little bit cooler out than normal and all of the mums are blooming. I'm standing here next to my rock garden. I've been pulling some of the dead heads off of these mums so they're just gonna get bigger and more beautiful. There are just certain times of the year that we think about food. And one of those for me is Thanksgiving. Right. I want it to be good, I want it to be healthy, but I really do want certain things at Thanksgiving. So what is it that you fix or that you feel like you just have to have when you sit down at your Thanksgiving table? So come on, let's go in and I'm going to show you today how to make turnip greens and mustard greens. You could use this for collards, any kind of greens. You prep them the same way. I cook mine the same way. They're all delicious. They're all so good for us. So come on and I'll show you how easy this can be. The greens I'm going to show you today came out of this beautiful garden. Look how fabulous. All right, you're back from the garden and you have these beautiful leaves. So throw them in your sink. Make sure your sink is nice and clean, of course, and then stop it up and fill it up with water. I like to toss these around and just make sure I'll loosen up any little pieces of debris or maybe even a tiny little insect, and we will look these over really, really good. So let me just say that I love your comments. So if you have questions or comments, please put those below. But as you can see, I'm removing the bulky part of these stems. So I like to get the thickest part, and I don't cut every one out. I've already cut some of these off as I cut them from the garden. I kind of took that big part of the stem off. But anyway, you want to just stack these up because I'm going to roll these and cut them very fine. But in the meantime, I'm just looking them over really good, making sure they're nice and clean. I've rinsed them all good. And usually I will let them kind of drain on paper towels and even pat them dry to get all the extra water off. But here's the difference in the leaves. This is a leafy mustard right here, this lacy one, and this big flat one is a turnip green. All right, so I'm making sure they're nice and clean. These are probably going to have more water in them than I really want when I get done, because normally I do get these nice and drained. But you see that little insect? It's just a tiny little mite. And I'm going to take that back to the sink and rinse that away. It might even been a little speck of dirt. But anyway, I just want to make sure they're nice and clean. Please feel free to visit my website. I really want you to check it out there. There's so much there for you to see and know more about me and how to follow me. And I love that. There's a kitchen conversion chart there too. When you first go onto my website, you can register and get that kitchen conversion chart. So you'll know how to fix up your kitchen and get some of the bad stuff out and replace with good stuff to cook. So you see I'm just cutting these very fine and then right down the middle. So I've rolled them up like a cigar, cut them fine across and then down. So I'll show you on this second half of that. I just kind of divided it in half. It makes it easier to work with a smaller piece. So just cut that across and then right down the middle. This makes all the difference in the world, just taking out those big, thicky, bulky stems and then cutting these nice and fine. And then, of course, making sure they're nice and clean. You're going to fill up this pot and you're going to think you have a ton, but it's going to cook down. So this is what I call a nice little mess of greens, and just enough to fill a pot, and then I'm going to let it cook down. So I'm not adding any water, but I am going to add coconut oil. And I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar and some sea salt. And you need one of these little rubber discs to help you remove the lids off these. And you can see I'm just about out of my coconut oil out of this jar. I'm going to use every little bit I have. That's probably going to give me enough. I do usually a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. So this is going to give me maybe 1 big tablespoon, maybe a little extra. I'm going to scrape every bit I can get. And then I'm going to scrape it off my little spatula there too, and then just kind of push those greens down. And like I said, I'm not adding any extra water, but I have given these a little bit of sea salt on there and that coconut oil. And then turn them on high, and you're going to get them nice and steamy. And then I'm going to add my apple cider vinegar. As you can see, I always use organic, and this is raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. So I just do a little splash of this Yep, need my little disc again for this lid. That's a really nice, handy dandy kitchen tool to have. And just a little splash here. So I've shaken the bottle up good and then just splash that over. I like the vinegar on there. I don't like to add it after they're cooked. A lot of people do, but I just like mine to be flavored nicely with the vinegar. So you can see as you start to turn these, the bottom is going to be a richer green. That shows me that it's cooking. You don't want to let these, scorch or cook too quickly, but I bring them to a nice hearty boil, and then I put them on a nice slow simmer. You can let these simmer for as long as you want, at least an hour. So you can see they're nice and cooked, and these are actually better to refrigerate. Heat them up, refrigerate, heat them up, makes the flavor come out even better. So comment below, leave me all your questions. I would love to answer all of your questions. See you next time. Watch more videos. I love having you hang out with me.